Well, hello there. I'm Anthony Henderson, speaker extraordinaire. And this is my ode to Kappa. It's my tribute, it's my acknowledgement, it's my brief video highlighting Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. They are a frat that just celebrated 110 years of achievement. Our motto is achievement in every field of human endeavor, in the sciences, in the arts, in the sports, and whatever that we endeavor to embark in, we achieve. Achievement, by definition, is a thing that's done successfully, typically by effort, courage, or skill. Our founders, these 10 college age young men on the campus of Indiana University in Bloomington, Indiana, they did so much for so long with so little. And because of their sacrifices, because of the things that they did, 110 years later, we're able to still be here. We're able to be still standing and still winning. And when you think about what our founders did, again, these are 19, 20, 21-year-old young men, college age men. And it was really and truly about survival. It wasn't just survival in an academic sense, but a survival for life. Our founders, they were in Bloomington, Indiana. Okay, Bloomington, Indiana, which is right next door to Pulaski, Indiana, which is the birthplace of the Ku Klux Klan. We're in the year of 2021 right now. And if you think about it, racism still exists. Social oppression is still an issue. But just imagine how it was back in 1910, 1911. You're a young African American male, you're a young Black person on a predominantly white campus. Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity is the only member of the Divine Nine fraternities and sororities that were established, that got its start on the campus of a predominantly white campus. But yet and still, these 10 men that you see on the screen, they made it happen. They wanted to impact the social, the political, and the economical structure of society. And 110 years later, we're still achieving, we're still winning. Our leader right now internationally at the current time is our Grand Polemarch, an amazing brother by the name of Reuben A. Shelton III, Esquire. His theme or motto for his administration is brother to brother, breaking barriers and building bridges, building bridges. But I want to talk about these founders for a brief moment so you can really and truly understand what they were and who they were, and ultimately what they had to deal with back in 1911. And again, these 10 young men were the affectionate Elder Watson Diggs, who was affectionately known as the Dreamer, Byron Kenneth Armstrong, Ezra D. Alexander, Attorney Henry Turner Asher, Marcus Peter Blake Moore, Paul Wayman Kane, George Wesley Edmonds, Guy Levis Grant, Edward Giles Urban, and John Milton Lee. And I came off you seeing me for a moment because I wanted to put the focus on these gentlemen. Because again, what they did and what they established is truly amazing and nothing short of remarkable. I mean, think about this. Back in 1911, you're a college student, but you're not allowed to enter the classroom. Our founders weren't allowed inside the classroom because of the color of their skin. They were Black, so they had to listen on the outside of the door, and so they can maybe catch and hear what the professor's teaching or sharing in that particular time. But they still graduated. They still made it happen. They still achieved. They still won that battle. Hats off to the founders. And 110 years later, we're still achieving, still achieving. Now, what I want to do now is I want to show you some famous achievers, some famous Kappa men. And these individuals, again, have done some amazing things. and I'm just going to highlight just a couple of them, famous achievers. You see the Daniel Chappie James, who was the first Black 4-star general. You have Mr. Bernard Harris. He was the first Black astronaut to actually walk in space. I had the privilege of actually meeting Brother Bernard Harris when I was the Polemarch of the West Palm Beach Alumni Chapter. We actually brought him in for one of our programs. Just a very humble man, just doing some great stuff. You see Brother Wilt Chamberlain there. For you sports enthusiasts, especially you basketball players, you're aware that he's the only player in the history of the game to score 100 points in a single game. Yeah, the late Arthur Ashe. He was the first Black player selected to the U.S. Davis Cup team and the only Black man ever to win a singles title at Wimbledon, the U.S. Open, and the Australian Open. That's even to date. That still stands. I actually had the privilege of meeting Brother Arthur Ashe as well when I was a student at the University of Florida, just a few months before his passing, before he went on to Chapter Invisible. Just very humble, but competitive as all get out. Just truly a giant in this noble clan. You have Mike Tomlin, the head football coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers, who made the playoffs again this year. It's like a tradition. It's a culture that he's established. Won a Super Bowl a few years back. You got the late Johnny Cochran. You have Congressman Al C. Hastings, who's a member of the Fort Lauderdale Alumni Chapter here in South Florida. You got Cedric, the entertainer. said, comedian, actor, John Singleton. And I can go on and on and on. These are just a couple famous achievers within Kappadom. Me personally, I was initiated at the Zeta Phi Chapter at the University of Florida in Gainesville, Florida, in the spring of 1989. The Dynasty was our line name. The Dynasty, the standard by which all others shall be judged. I was the deuce of the line. Yes, indeed, because it's a two world. It takes two to do everything. It takes two to fight, two to argue, two to make love. It takes two, baby. It's a two world, and I'm the deuce. We started with 10 young men, and throughout that 7 weeks of character building, only 9 of us matriculated to cross those burning sands. And the Zeta Phi chapter of Kappa Alpha Psi there up in Gainesville, we're the known as the Pearl of the South. And when you think about a pearl is a very precious gem. And that's what Zeta Phi is. It's a precious gem. It's a precious chapter. It has achieved so much. And we're also known as the hospitality chapter. Because if you come to Zeta Phi, if you come to University of Florida, we're going to roll out the red carpet for you. We're going to treat you like family. Because if you garner these 3 letters, KAČ, you are family. And we have a common bond. The Zeta Phi chapter, we were the first Black Greek letter organization on the campus of the University of Florida back in 1972. Our first chapter Polemarch is Mr. Bernard Cohen, and ever since we've been a beacon of success and excellence. Ever since then, just doing it and doing it well, achieving in every field of human endeavor. These are my fraternal sons, okay? The legacy. I had the privilege of being the membership intake chair or the dean of pledges in the fall of 1993. Those 9 gentlemen standing behind me, those are my fraternal sons, and they became known as the legacy. And that is where the Papa T lore began. That's where it's all started. My name is Anthony Henderson. I go by Anthony, I go by Tony. I answer to both. People know me by Anthony, my government name. People know me by Tony. I answer to both. But back in the fall of 1993, that is where the Papa T lore began. And here we are 32 years later, and it's still standing strong because I was trained and I was brought in the right way, and they taught me to do everything with a spirit of excellence. And that's what I do, and I'm honored to be a member of this noble clan. Let's talk about Kappa style for a moment. What exactly is Kappa style? Well, Kappa style is smooth, suave, and debonair. That's what the Kappa style is. You see, Kappa men, real men wear suits and they throw the yo. Kappas are always suited and booted, baby. Ha ha! Casket sharp. Casket sharp. That's a Kappa. That's a Kappa style. You know, many of you're familiar with the cane and the shimmy, and that's what we're known for. Our step shows and being able to work the wood. Okay, that's Kappa style. That's Kappa style. And what's so interesting about the cane, let me give you a little quick history lesson here, is we weren't the first to use the cane. Phi Beta Sigma fraternity was the first to historically use the cane, but we perfected it. And it's been on ever since. And nobody, and I repeat, nobody can touch us with that wood. We can do some things with that wood to make you go, ooh, wee. Yes, indeed. The cane and the shimmy. Now, the shimmy, I'm 51 years young. And that's something that kind of matriculated into the bond later on in our 110 years of existence. And I can still get down there. You know, I'm 51 years young, you know, I can get down there because every now and then I got to show the youngins that I still got it. Now, I might feel it the next day. My knees might be hollering. While I'm doing it, my knees like, wow, help me. But I can still make it do what it do, right? The cane and the shimmy. But this right here is what truly separates us from any and every organization, especially the Divine Nine. We have no honorary members, not nary one. And that's something that separates us from everybody else in the Divine Nine. We're the only member of the Divine Nine fraternity sororities that do not accept honorary members. Every member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated was initiated. Every member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated had to go through an intake process. Every member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated had to pay them dues. You see, Kappa is earned. It's not given. It's earned. It's not given. Now, I don't normally do shout outs. I don't. But if I did, I first of all have to acknowledge our Grand Polemarch brother Reuben A, Shelton III, because even in the midst of a global pandemic, he's kept us engaged and informed of the happenings within Kappadom. So again, honored to serve you, brother Grand Polemarch Shelton. Excellent job, and I'm appreciative of what you've done, and I look forward to what you're going to do in the near future. But lastly, I got to acknowledge my own. I got to acknowledge my own, and that is the Miramar chapter of Kappa Alpha Psi Incorporated. All right. We actually, January the 6th, let me start by this. January the 6th is the date that we were chartered. 14 years ago, January 6th in 2007, a group of young men chartered the Miramar Pembroke Pines Alumni chapter of Kappa Alpha Psi. And it was rough sledding in the beginning. There were times when they could barely even make a quorum, okay, which is enough members even have a meeting. But I want to shout out and acknowledge the brothers that kept that flame lit. Brothers such as William Eugene Dixon, brothers such as James Wise Wynn, brothers such as our current Polemarch, okay, brother Michael Connor, brothers such as Daryl Sheldon, brother Love. And I'm sure I'm missing a couple, but those are the mainstays. Thank you so much for what you did and what you endured to get us to this point where we are today, an award-winning chapter. In the fraternity year 2019-2020, the MPPAC Chapter of Kappa Alpha Psi, we won Chapter of the Year. We won Community Service Chapter of the Year. We won the Guide Right Kappa League Chapter of the Year. We won the Guide Right Kappa League Advisor of the Year. And we also run the Reclamation Chapter of the Year. 5 out of 5 awards. MPPAC continues to make an impact. And I'm honored to serve and be a member of this great, great chapter. Now, if I've solicited any interest of yours at all, you may not be a member of my fraternity, which is okay. All right. Go to KappaAlphaPsi1911.com and do a little research, see what we're about. Again, this is just a little 15-minute video. That's all this is. If you reside in Florida, Alabama, Bahamas, or the Virgin Islands, you can go to southernprovince.org. All right. But if you reside in South Florida, where I am, you could take a look at our chapter, my chapter, the MPPAC of Kappa Alpha Psi, Miramar, Pembroke Pines Alumni Chapter, impactkappas.org. Now, in closing, brothers, as I conclude achievement, J5 style, as I conclude my ode to Kappa, I want to remind you to wear a mask. Put your mask on. Put your mask on, man. Rona, she's still out there. She's still out there. So put your mask on, all right? And social distance. And we're going to get through this thing together, all right? We're going to get through this thing together. All right, family, I love you to life. This has been Achievement, J5 Style. And I'm Anthony Henderson, speaker extraordinaire. Yo to the noobs.